Hello everybody, and welcome to another replay here at Almost Solitaire. We will continue with Commands and Colors Ancients, and we are now entering a real epic time in ancient history. This is the war that is called the Second Punic War. It could also be called actually the Barcid War, because it was mainly the Barcid dynasty who waged the war against Rome in this war. Also, the Barcid family, who were extremely rich at this point of time and basically residing in Spain, they did more or less, pay the cost for this war. I mean, money-wise, and also in lives, as we will see later on. But so what has happened here was that between the First and Second Punic War, of course, we had the Mercenary War or Truceless War that we have been playing for the last sessions. So the Carthaginians had their hands full, and we have also played, Rome against the Gauls who invaded Etruria. So both sides basically had their hands full, but the Barcids, residing in Spain at this point in time, they have gained enormous wealth in New Carthage and the Spanish colonies there, extending the land, getting some rich minerals there they have these silver mines and all this, and also Carthage and Rome has had somewhat good relations in between the wars, commencing trading and so forth. So Carthage, who had a big debt to pay to Rome after the First Punic War, they were pretty happy to do it. Actually, they had such a big wealth, so they could easily do it, and they even, I think they even proposed at some point of time to pay the whole amount. I mean, this was the war debt they had was spread out in many years to pay an annual payment to Rome, but the Carthaginians got so big in wealth again after the wars, and they after they recuperated from the war, they could pay the whole amount in one go. But Rome didn't really want that, because they wanted to annually be reminded of that great victory over Carthage from the First Punic War. So and also this was kind of worrisome for the Romans, because hey, the Carthaginians were so wealthy again, so they could really grow strong again actually, and be a threat towards Rome. And basically that's what happened over in Spain mostly. So there were some deals between the Romans and the Carthaginians, how restricting how far the Carthaginians could expand in Spain. And I think it was one of the limits was the river Ebro, which was a bit up north from where the Carthaginians were residing, and they did expand as far. I think there was no real violations against that rule anywhere. But there was another thing happening. It was a town in Spain that got allied with Rome, because they were threatened by the Carthaginians. So they asked Rome for help, who actually accepted that. And that was a bit strange, because that town was actually in the zone of influence, or if we could say like that, for the Carthaginians. So it was kind of a provoking thing to have that deal between the Romans and that city. And anyway, Hannibal, and who, by the way, was the ruler of the Carthaginians in Spain at this point of time, ever since his father and his brother had been. I think his brother was actually assassinated, but both died. So Hannibal was the next one in line to take command. So they took the city, or besieged it at least, and that Rome saw kind of as an act of war, right? Because they were allied with that city. And, well, from here things escalated. I think you could also say that this is, I mean, both sides really, you know, influenced the happenings and events towards war, actually, towards each other. I mean, the Carthaginians felt they were strong enough now to challenge Rome, basically, and could expand more, and maybe even, you know, challenge the what is called the I don't find the word right now, but they had this deal, right? So they agreement was the word I was looking for. So they were challenging that agreement with Rome that they had with the Ebro River and so forth. And Rome, as I said, they were very suspicious of Carthaginians' strength now. So they really kind of provoked and you know, I think they kind of wanted the war against the Carthaginians, and they thought, I believe they thought that they could be quite an easy win for them. They, you know, they planned to do an invasion in Spain with one army, and another consular army would perhaps go down to Africa and invade there and, you know, wipe out the Carthaginians once again, and probably inflict more damage to the Carthaginians and getting more wealth from them. Anyway, Hannibal had other thoughts, of course. He wanted to bring the war to Roman soil. So later on he did start a march with a huge army consisting also of elephants. There were Africans and Celts and Iberians and whatnot in that army. So a big army marched out and marched through Pyrenees and through southern today's France, the land of Gauls there. There were also some Greek colony there, and there was some challenges for him there, but mostly it went okay. He also encountered the Romans at one point there, while the Romans were on their way to Spain, actually, but I don't know, pretty much the Romans maybe still didn't believe that they were gonna make their way to Italy through the Alps. That's just a crazy idea, I guess they thought. And I think actually it was Publius Scipio, who's also in the next battle we'll see, who's a leader here, who encountered them in southern France, or the Gallic countries there, and he was on his way to Spain. Anyway, Hannibal and his army continued. They went through the Alps, as we all know, with heavy losses. I mean, he lost basically half of his army just by crossing the Alps, and he had actually lost a big part of his army already before reaching the Alps. I think he started off with some 50,000 men, or maybe it was more actually, but anyway, it was a big army, and when he reached the other side of the Alps, the Cisalpine regions there, inhabited by Gauls and Ligurians, well, the army shrinked very much, but still it was a strong, and most importantly, he had his core African troops with him still. And he also brought some elephants with him, but many did perish through the difficult marches. So there were not that many elephants over on the Italian side of the Alps when he eventually got there. So when we jump into this story, there has been some maneuvering with Hasdrubal and Publius Scipio. Basically, when Hannibal reached the Cisalpine regions, he was a kind of worried that if he just should continue his march towards Rome, first of all, he might be a bit too weak for that, and secondly, he needed to have his rear clear. So he had to basically stay there and try to negotiate with the tribes there, the Ligurian. I think this was the Taurini tribe and some other Gallic tribes up there. And they were not really keen to join him actually from the beginning, because they were kind of afraid of what the Romans would think of that, and they had some agreements with the Romans after their loss in the previous wars that we have seen, also in the previous gameplays we had here. So he really did get that support that he was hoping for. I mean, he needed support for troops and for supplies there. So what he did was to, I think it was actually the Taurini who was more or less hostile towards Hannibal here. And Hannibal sent them, a message saying, okay, let's have peace with each other and had some trade deals, and maybe you can also, we could hire some troops from you. So let's have a peace. Taurini did reject that offer, and Hannibal then took some extreme measures. He pretty much attacked them, killed most of the leaders who was opposing him. He burned some villages. He really rampaged the land of Taurini at this time. So, and pretty much forcing this peace with them. The Gallic tribes around here, they saw what happened and was of course pretty much afraid of that happening to them too. So they perhaps reluctantly had to join the cause with Hannibal. So he actually got some Gallic troops with him at this point of time. So it was kind of a diplomacy by fear or by terror, maybe by Hannibal at this point of time. But it was a successful tactic use, because he got the support he needed. He got his back clear, no hostile tribes in his back when he wanted to start marching southwards. At the same time, since Hannibal lingered on in the northern regions of Italy, the Romans got aware of him, because of course they heard about what happened with Taurini, and they were kind of surprised that Hannibal had actually already gotten through the Alps and stayed there. So basically Hannibal lost the momentum of surprise here while lingering on there, but he had to do it. So the Romans had time to act and react. And so Publius Scipio, who actually was meant to go to Spain, he had to gather up an army. I think he took control of some. I think he took control of some other guys' armies here. I don't really remember. Maybe it says here. Not really. But anyway, I think he had to gather up an army pretty quick here. But I think he actually had at least 2 legions with him. And also, word was sent south to Sicily for the consul having the Imperium there to actually come up as fast as possible to join him, so they could together crush Hannibal's army. In the meantime, Publius Scipio started to march north. He needed to track what Hannibal was doing, where he was, and maybe if they could find some favorable terrain or anything, he could actually attack him and crush him. That would be a big honor for him to do it before actually the second consul could arrive. So they were doing this along the Po River, and at one point of time here, we are now in the year 218, the armies were pretty close to each other, and they knew that. But they really didn't know exactly where they were and what were they doing, and if they were watching at some direction. So both had a camp nearby each other, well, relatively seen, and both basically had the same idea. They should recon in force, because they were so close to each other and didn't really know how strong the other part was and what troops they had and what they consisted of. So they put together some really strong recon party. So the Romans gathered up whatever cavalry he could muster, or Scipio, and together with him he took loads of velites, light infantry, with him to consist this recon force. I mean, he brought infantry, and that of course slowed him down a bit, even though these guys are lights, but still an all-out cavalry force could move much quicker, of course. So he was a bit slower there. Hannibal, he made up his recon force by only choosing cavalry. So he had these, which is depicted heavies here. It's probably, I think we have a lot of Spanish cavalry here, Hispanic ones, probably some Africans. We have perhaps also some Gallic cavalry units in here. But notably the flanks he had secured by these elite Numidian light cavalry that was so famous already at this time. So along the Ticinus River, I think Scipio made actually a bridge somewhere over this river. The two sides met, and both actually started to array for battle here. And Scipio, he thought, okay, this will probably a traditional one. We might have some chance with skirmishing first. So he put up his velites in front, screening his cavalry, and started to march forward. Hannibal, he did a more of a traditional setup in the of his army here. The heavies in the center and flanked by these Numidians, and their task was actually to, ride around the flanks of the Romans and attack them in the rear and flank, while his heavies were occupying the main force here. And it's said that when the two sides collided, it went so fast that the velites were not able to fire a single volley of javelins. So the Carthaginian cavalry came upon them so hard and fast and heavy, so they pretty much scattered in the first contact, started to rout and retreat, which brought the Roman cavalry in somewhat disorder here, having the light infantry running around their feet. So they really didn't get the chance to form up that well, but they put up a fight here anyway. And it's also said that many of these guys dismounted to fight as infantry. And maybe they did also on the Carthaginian side as part. We don't really know that. But anyway, when this happened, then came the decisive blow, because the light Numidians on both flanks had enough time to reach the flanks of the Romans and attack there. And that pretty much broke the Roman recon army here, or recon force. And during this mayhem that happened, also Publius Scipio was badly wounded. So he was pretty much surrounded by enemy troops. Now his son was also present here, and probably he was a junior officer, having, an officer of having one turmai of cavalry underneath him or in his command. He saw what happened. He had some veteran cavalry in his command. So he saw his father going down, and he issued an order to his unit to charge and save his father. They were kind of reluctant because they saw the odds were going against the Romans. They were swarming around the unit where Publius Scipio was attached to. But Scipio the Younger, he charged here, and by showing the way, the other guys also followed. So they managed to actually secure his father and brought him off from the battle. And the Romans started to retreat here. By the way, the young Scipio, of course, I think he was only like, I have read some different ages of him, but he was somewhere between 16 and 18 years old when this happened. So he was a really, really young man here. And this is, of course, a man who will be very famous in the future, which we'll also see in the later battles. We will see more of him. He is, of course, the one who will be named Scipio Africanus, who actually will beat Hannibal later on in a climactic battle in Africa. But we'll return to that later on. Anyway, where were we? Yeah, the Romans were retreating, and luckily for them, the Carthaginians didn't really bother to follow up and pursue them, and that because they were really much only doing the recon mission here. And I mean, if the Romans would retreat towards the pretty heavily fortified camp they had, the rest of the Roman army would come to meet, and then these guys would be outnumbered. So there was no reason for Hannibal to follow up the victory here. So Publius got away safely to the camp, but during the next night, Publius made the decisions to abandon the camp and start moving over River Po, I think it was, and because he knew that the next day Hannibal will be outside there with the whole army blocking him and starting to besiege him in that camp, and he couldn't really afford that. So he went away during the night. So the next day, Hannibal and the Carthaginian army reached that camp and just saw that destroyed bridge over the river and some guards defending it, some few hundred men there. The rest of the Roman army was on the other side and on their way. So the next plan for Publius Scipio was actually to wait for the other consul to come up, and they would join forces and meet the Carthaginians in a pitched battle. And that will also, we will continue that story in the next battle actually. But for now, let's concentrate on this, because now it's time to replay this story, right? And for the war council then, we have the Carthaginian army with the leader Hannibal. Hannibal is though not a leader in this battle as a leader unit or leader block, but we have Maharbal, we have Hasdrubal and Mago here. So we have some Barkids here also. The Carthaginians will have 5 command cards and move first. The Roman is led by Publius Scipio, and he's actually the only leader in the Roman force here. So that's a handicap already there. We have 3 leaders here and only 1 here. They have 4 command cards, so they have 1 less than the Carthaginians, which means we will have 1 more on our display in slot A for the Carthaginians. And Ticinus River is not fordable, so this is forbidden territory for both armies. And by that, let's check out the battle board and the forces. So let's start with the Carthaginians. So as said, we have the Numidians on both flanks, set up a bit differently, but there's 4 units of light cavalry, and we have Maharbal there, and we have Mago over there. In the center we have 4 units of heavy cavalry, as I said, consisting of probably mostly Hispanic long shields and other cavalry units. And we have Hasdrubal as the leader there. The Roman side, we have first the skirmish land of the Velites that Scipio put up, and there's 6 units of those backed by another 6 units of medium heavy cavalry down here at the baseline, and here's Scipio himself. So his son is not a prominent leader here yet, so he's not another leader block. We only have one leader, as said. We have really no terrain other than the river over there. It's impossible, so pretty good terrain for a cavalry battle, that's for sure. And I can't really remember we had a, okay, it's not a pure cavalry battle since we have some infantry here, but still, this is mainly a cavalry battle. I don't remember we had anything of that previously in the when we were playing. So it's going to be a new one, or a new style of battle, I believe. I don't know if I said that when we checked the War Council, but the battle will go on till one side gets 6 banners, and that's a fair amount of very big amount of banners. But I expect these to go pretty soon as well, because we will have another tempo in this one since we have so much cavalry. I'm sure of that. So especially if we get some a bunch of these mounted units and also cavalry charge. Did I say unit? I mean cards. Cavalry charge cards. Then this could be a pretty fast and furious battle. So by that, I think we are ready to start. And well, maybe we should say something about the tactics. For the Carthaginian side, I think I will just try out to do as in history. Marching forward the heavies, the lights will flank and harass and hit from the flanks. I even think I dare to do some close combat attacks, at least with the light cavalry that that is attached to a leader, because that's, you hit with those leader symbols, and that's really cool. So if we find some units that are not supported, I think we could dare to do some dashing close combat charges there as well with the lights. Otherwise the lights will of course harass with their heavy missiles coming in here, and these guys just engage the Roman cavalry and Velites here. For the Romans, I will try a thing here. The plan is that we could split up the Velites, so using, well, let's say 3 from here moving in that direction and 3 from there moving in that direction, engaging and trying to hold back the Numidians, because even though we are a lighter kind of cavalry here, we are more numerous than the counterpart. So if we could get the plain cavalry battle in the center with our mediums against those heavies, we could win it actually, because we have 6 units, they have only 4, and we can always evade when a heavy attacks us. So we could get and get around, block the retreat paths and attack, harass and kind of war of attrition, just grinding them down block by block and making sure they cannot retreat. That's my plan. So let's see how that works. Of course, we need some good cards for that to allow the Velites to move and then get together the cavalry in one force. That will take some time, so maybe the Carthaginians will be upon us before we do that. So let's see if we can pull through that plan. But I was thinking of something like that. Let's see if it's okay. Maybe we get entangled in the battle already before we can execute that plan, but time will tell. So by that, let's start the show. Okay, so let's start with checking out what cards we have on the Carthaginian board. We have, alright, a mounted charge and a Clash of Shields. These are 2 really good cards here. And on B we have 3 units. Right, it will be some Numidians here with Maharbal. But let's see who we can activate, or what units we can activate. Okay, it's an A or B, so we have actually to play one of these. The mounted charge is not interesting right now, because I want to play that when I can reach the enemy with the heavies, who can go 3 hexes with that card, I believe. Heavy units may move 3 hexes, yeah. So I'm gonna wait with that. So I think I play the 3 units right and activate Maharbal and his Numidians. And let's see, we can go 4 hexes. So we can already start pouring in some missiles here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we can't reach the enemy cavalry line, but I think we can reach the first velites here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we can. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can actually pour in some fire here. So let's put these 3 into action then. And we go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Give them some support here. These guys cannot fire, but we start here with harassing the velites. And it's a 1-die attack from each side. First one, a miss. Second one, another miss. So nothing there. But we're seeing some action right from the start. So we give the Carthaginians a new card in slot B, and then let's check what the Romans have in A and B. Here's 4 units left, so they can really react here right away. And then we have a line command, okay, that could activate the whole bunch of velites. So we could actually shower these guys with some good javelins. Let's see if we're able to play that card. Okay, so that's actually tactics card, which is the line command or 4 units. I think we could play the line command then. We will not get another chance, I'm sure of that, of playing a good line command activating all of these guys. So let's do it. So all these guys activate. We can only go 1 hex though. So these guys will stay. These guys will stay. Here we start moving forward. Let's do it already here as well, moving up to the enemy. We want to greet them with some good javelin attacks before they reach us. So let's just put them up here. We're still out of range for any cavalry charge. Okay, so let's start. Let's start from. Let's start here actually. 2 dice against that 1. Wrong die. I do it again. I rolled a normal d6 there. Okay, so 2 leader symbols, that's a miss. Let's do this one, it's 1 die. That's actually a hit. So one of these Numidians down. Good throwing there. So then I think we choose the same target with that guy. That's 2 dice because they didn't move. So we got a flag, so we could take that if we want to. But I don't think we do that. We stay here. We want to stay here and fight with the Numidians. So I'm gonna stay. So replace slot B. And let's check what the Carthaginians have in the next. An A or B again. So we have the Clash of Shields, Mounted Charge, and in B slot we have 3 units center. Okay. So this needs to be the heavies then. And I think I start moving forward. The heavies. Unfortunately, I need to leave 1 behind. But I will take these 3 and just move them forward 2 hexes. And prepare for the assault. That's it. Here comes the Romans. Another one of these. Tactics card or lowest. Okay, so let's see what the rule says about, since we only have 1 card up. If there is none or only 1 face-up card in a display, flip any 1 face-down card up. Okay, so since we only have 1, we're gonna flip 1 card, and let's take that in slot C then. So that's an outflanked. So both of these actually order 4 units. We could take any of these to play. I think I'll... Interesting. Maybe we should... Let's play the 4 on the left hand side. It's only 3 units here, but it's okay. So we're gonna scare away those Numidians now. These guys stay. So I'll start with the javelin attacks here. 2 dice. And that's a hit. Good one. And now I'm gonna attack with the medium heavies on this lone block, who will try to evade, but we will roll 3 dice, and if we get a green, we get that unit. And we did it. So these Numidians got caught actually, and 1 unit already destroyed. So the Romans gather 1 victory banner by that. Pretty good start from the Romans here. Okay, this one, same thing. These guys will try to evade, of course. So we roll the 3 dice. No hits though. So these guys will now evade 2 hexes back, and that's it. Pretty good. Pretty good by the Romans. Even though it's worrisome that these heavies are on their way now. Okay, interesting start, I'd say. Let's see what the Carthaginians can do then. A, B, or C. So we're gonna flip up. We know we have the Clash of Shields with a mounted charge. In B we have, can you believe it? We have another mounted charge coming here. I mean, this is pretty awesome cards for the these guys now. And in slot C we have 2 units right. Okay. Basically what we could do is play 1 of the mounted charge now. And I mean, we can move 3 hexes with those guys. We could actually attack both of these, and we could start attacking some of the... this is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting stuff. And I can order... less than or equal to command. Yes, that would be 5 units then. I'm gonna play 1 of these. So it's 1, 2, 3. I will actually play it here as well, because I want that guy to come up and be ready for the next turn. And then I will actually activate Maharbal himself. So Maharbal will now go 1, 2, 3, 4. He will be ready to strike if any guys retreat here. These guys goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Here we go. He can attack actually. So let's start here then. These guys will try to evade, but I will roll the 4 dice, actually 5 dice, because I have the mounted charge, right? So 5 dice against those velites, oh my, who are evading. Okay, we missed them completely, so the Carthaginian had a bad roll there. So these guys went away. But now for the more important battles. We start here, 5 dice, and I think we will evade because we have no chance and there's a leader with them. So these guys will evade, but it's 5 dice, and let's see. Okay, 2 hits. Pretty heavy hits on those Romans there, and then we evade and we go back here so we don't end up in front of Maharbal. Then we have the second one, 5 dice again. They will evade. This time they managed to evade pretty nicely. off they go. But now we have Maharbal who will attack them with 3 dice actually, and he hits with leaders, but I'm hoping to roll a lot of you know, flag symbols, because then I can perhaps eliminate those guys, go in, attack those guys as well. That would be really nice. That could yield us 2 victory banners with a bit of luck. So let's see if we can manage to do that. We need a good roll by Maharbal here. And we rolled pretty bad, not a single hit. That was a waste. So these guys will now retaliate with 3 dice. And they got in 1 hit and a flag. So these guys die. Then we gotta check the fate of Maharbal himself. He's fine. So now I could take that flag or not. And I think I will take it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. Okay, not that successful about charge that I was hoping for. Oh, I forgot actually to move 1 guy here. 1, 2, 3. Sorry about that. I'm gonna move him up, of course. Well, I was hoping to get these 2 guys actually, even though I knew that they were gonna retreat, but still I thought I had a good chance to eliminate those. Well, these guys are in a very bad shape though. So then we replaced the card in slot A, and then we roll for the Romance. Another one of these. I think they got these 3 times in a row now. So it's still only 1 open, so let's put up slot A then. That's a move fire move. It suits us pretty well because we can do some nice Velite attacks here. And then we have the outflank, which is also interesting. We could, well, you know what? I'm thinking of doing the move fire move anyway. We're gonna pour in loads and loads of javelins now from our Velites, which did not happen in history if Polybius' account is true. So we can order 4 Velites, and I will just take these guys, and I will not move in the first phase. I will go directly to the fire phase. And let's see, I'm gonna start here. They have only 1 target, and they are not supported. So 2 dice. Nothing there. Too bad. Second one, same target. 1 hit. Then we continue here. I'm gonna fire at those guys who are not supported. 1 hit. And the second one, same target. Alright, a hit again. We did some damage here actually, even though I think the more important thing was to scare those guys away, and we didn't manage with that, but we have for sure damaged them now. And what's even better, we can now, you know, to prevent them from playing the second mounted charge successfully, we can clog them up with our Velites now. So I'm gonna actually, you know, block the path to our center here by moving up these guys. Or actually, maybe these guys could actually stay where they are, but these guys will sidestep. You see what I did here? I'm blocking those guys from reaching my center section here with cavalry. On the other hand, they can now reach these guys. Maybe that's even more vulnerable. Maybe we can prevent that. Well, if we move forward, let's do that. Only these guys, well, these guys could also reach them if we get the cavalry charge. They can move 3 hexes in that case. But let's see. You know, I can be here and I just evade if they attack me here. So we have built a wall of Velites in front of cavalry. So let's see. I hope they cannot reach us, and then maybe in the next turn, if we get a good center card, we can open up a gap here and then attack with the cavalry through that line. Let's see if we can pull that through. Let's replace card A and move on to the Carthaginians. That's an A or B. Clash of Shields. Well, Clash of Shields, I was thinking of that actually. Because now they could attack those guys with loads of extra dice. Even though we're gonna retreat or evade. Okay, what else? They have the coordinated attack. They could choose one from each sector. That's something too. And then they have the option to play the next mounted charge. Maybe they actually want to do that now. I think they're gonna play the mounted charge actually. Anyway. So that would be 5 units. Let's put this into now I'm actually gonna take Maharbal again. So that's 5 units, and we can go 3 hexes. So let's do that. We go here. Maharbal we go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here we go 1, 2, 3. We're gonna make sure we kill those guys now. These guys, even though they are a bit softened up, they will now attack through the gap here. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna be really, really bold here with those guys. And these guys will actually go here. And the reason is I'm gonna attack these guys who cannot retreat or evade. So that would maybe give us a victory banner here. Okay, so let's start. We start here. And that's 4 dice from the beginning, but 1 more for the mounted charge. So I got 5 dice, we cannot evade. And unfortunately I'm not adjacent to a leader, so I don't get those hits. But the velites are not supported, so they will pretty easily retreat or die by retreating. Well, that was not a good roll, though. We only got 2 hits on the velites. So they actually have a chance to kill us now, to be honest. If they get 1 red, it's over. Let's see if they manage to do that. No, they didn't. Nothing happened there. So the thing is then, maybe we should kill that guy off, go down again, and then kill these. I think I'd do that plan with these cavalry. So I attack the velites from the other side. So they got some heavy cavalry running around them and then attacking from the rear. That's 5 dice. And now we have a leader with us. So that's what we needed, 2 hits. So at last the first velite unit goes down, and we got the first Carthaginian victory banner by that. Now I can go in, I can go 1 more and attack again, and that will be this target. So it's 5 dice again, we need 1 hit, we are again adjacent to a leader. We got it. So this Roman cavalry goes down, bringing us up. I'll drop that just a second. Here we go, we got the second victory banner for the Carthaginians. They could go in and go 1 more, but I will not do that. So I'm happy here. Happy camping. And here we go again. 5 dice, this time against a full strength Roman cavalry though. Let's see. Well, that's actually an amazing roll. 5 hits, since we have the leader with us. That's not Maharbal actually, that's Maharbal is here. But he's also adjacent to this guy, but I think it's actually Hasdrubal who claimed this victory. So we eliminate another Roman cavalry unit, claiming the 3rd victory banner by that. We can go in, and this time I will do it, so we'll go here. So Maharbal don't have any target anymore, so they will just stay here. Then we have 1 more, and that's this a bit more desperate attack, but I need to do it. So I will attack Scipio. Let's see if we can repeat history here and, you know, wound him. So we got 5 dice, no leader with us, but still I think this is a pretty good roll. And it is, we got actually 4 hits. So this is eliminated. The 4th banner is ours. And now we're gonna see what happens with Scipio. This is actually an exciting roll because this could repeat history. Nope, he's okay. So he actually gonna evade out of the board. So the Carthaginians will not get a victory banner, but Scipio is now saved by his son, Scipio the Younger, and he will, you know, they will go together against or back to the Roman camp. But the battle rage is on. He can go in, he can go 1 more and battle again. That's 5 dice, since we still have the mounted charge in effect. And those guys cannot retreat, they have nowhere to retreat. And we got 3 hits. They are killed. Got another victory banner. We now have 5 out of 6 needed. And that ends the... Okay, we could actually go 1 more. We could go in and go 1 more, and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go there. So, replace slot E for the Carthaginians. They really have good cards now. They really have so nice cards. I mean, 2 cavalry charges in this scenario is just amazing. Okay, this was now a big concern for the Romans. They could maybe get a few banners now. We have a really weak unit here, we have a kind of weak unit there, but we have lost the big bulk of our strike force. We only have 2 medium cavalries left, no leader. So let's see if we can get some more banners for the Romans. Okay, that's the slot C or lowest order count. Let's see. If not already face up, flip this or lowest order. If there are multiple, if there are no face up section card and the card in space C cannot be played, face. Okay, so basically the Romans needs to play C now, but that's not the worst card you can imagine actually. So we can actually activate these guys now and these with this card, and it's not a perfect one, but okay. So we're gonna be a bit desperate now. Well, I'm gonna place myself here. These guys will attack. These guys will actually... I mean, I'm desperate now. I'm gonna close combat these guys now. Because I could hit them, or a bit of a luck, at least I could get a flag so I don't get the battle back here. I know this is really desperate, but with a bit of luck we could get actually 2 banners. So let's start here anyway. So that's 3 dice. And we need 2 hits. We got 2 hits. A red and a sword symbol. Great. So those guys are actually eliminated. Now we got the Roman second banner. And I will actually go in and go here. So I will start moving towards this flank to help those guys out. We have a lone Velite unit here. Mago is just standing there looking at the events. Maybe he sees some... I mean, these guys should wet his tongue now for attack, right? Okay, here, the other desperate attack. 2 dice with a red, or at least a flag, so we can scare them off. We got the flag. Well, they got away. So we go here. And that's it for this turn. So it's a Carthaginians again. And where could they hit to win the battle? Of course here. If you could activate those heavies, I think it's over. Let's see what they got. That's a C or lowest order count. So this one or a coordinated attack. Well, it could be enough. But of course, no, that's the one, of course. I was thinking the other way around, that it's on that flank, but this is the Carthaginians. So the order 2 is right, is exactly what we want. We want these two activated, so it's a no-brainer. These guys will move 1, 2, 1, 2, and the Romans have no place to retreat. So we're gonna attack with Hasdrubal first, giving him the glory perhaps for scaring off the last Roman cavalry here, needed for the victory. Let's see, 5 dice, no, 4 dice. There's no cavalry charge this time, so 4 dice could be enough. It is enough. We got 3 hits. This goes down, and we got the 6th banner. So the Carthaginians won 6-2, and a well-deserved win. And they didn't even have to play that Clash of Shields cards they got from the beginning. Some real amazing cards there. The cavalry charges really did it. Even though the first cavalry charge didn't go that well, I'd say the Roman cavalry got away here, and but following up with a second cavalry charge, that was just too much and broke the spine of the Roman army over here. So, and then Scipio escaping the field wounded pretty early. He couldn't help anyone out, so these guys were just fighting for their survival now, and they couldn't really put up a big resistance here. Even though we got that heavy there, that's a big loss for the Carthaginians, I believe. But anyway, there's no question about who's the victorious one here. 6-2, as said. So, as I anticipated, this is a 6 victory banner battle, but still pretty quick one. Since this only cavalry, and the tempo was so different here, right? I mean, compared to the infantry line battles, when it takes 6 or 8 turns before they really reach each other, including some skirmishing and cavalry battles on the flanks. So yeah, fun to play another style of combat, but I wonder if the newly released Commands and Colors games, Medieval from GMT Games, maybe it has more of these, because there, as I have understood it, cavalry is a more in a prominent role there. So maybe the battles are more like this. I have heard about it that I've read some after action reports, and pretty much it's very deadly, very fast, and cavalry rules the field there. So, and the infantry is really in a second hand role there. So maybe this is kind of resembling the medieval battle more than ancients. Anyway, it was fun, and what's more fun is that this kind of reflected history. Okay, the Roman infantry, or the velites here, they really had a bigger role in this battle than in history, according to the sources. When it was said that they didn't even get away one volley of javelins before the Carthaginian cavalry was upon them. It was almost like this in this battle as well, but they actually went forth and did some damage. Remember that first one when I played the Lion Command, they did really heavy damage on the Carthaginian heavy cavalry there. That was kind of fun or cool to see that happen. So they had a role here, but still no match for the Carthaginians when they got these cavalry charge cards. Alright, I think that's basically it then. And thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you again in the next one, which is the Battle of Trebia. Bye for now.